Chapter 6. Crime. It was the night shift. The boss was upset about something, but at first I didn't pay much attention. Then I understood what was bothering him. If those guys don't clear out of the back alley in 5 minutes, I'm calling the cops, he said through clenched teeth. What's going on, Max? I asked. I don't know, except those guys are laughing and talking out there, and they're up to no good. I can see that. What are they doing? I persisted. I can't tell for sure. They just seem to be drinking beer and shooting the breeze. When Max wasn't looking, I opened the door to the alley and stuck my head out. There were 4 guys, men, just outside the door. Hey, you guys, I whispered as loudly as I dared. You'd better get going. My boss is going to call the heat on you. I went back into the coffee shop. Things were slow. 5 minutes later, the 4 guys walked in the front door. They seemed to be in their early or mid-20s. They didn't look as though they had enough between them for a cup of coffee, let alone for the 50 cent a person minimum charge for the booth they crowded into. They didn't sit in my area, but I decided I should wait on them just the same. They might get into more trouble. Besides, the tall blonde was really handsome. What'll you have, fellows? As I suspected, they didn't have enough for the minimum. Don't worry about it, I said, and I brought each of them a piece of pie and a cup of coffee, paying for it out of my tips. I'm dead if Max catches me, I thought, but I was curious about the foursome and interested in the blonde. When do you get off work? He asked as I brought the pie. Why? I asked. He smiled. His teeth were beautifully white. Just curious. At 11? It was 8:30. They returned a few minutes after 10, going to the same booth. They had more coffee. I walked out the front door with a smile in their direction. They got up and followed me out. I started up the street toward my hotel. I could hear footsteps behind me. It was just one person. I managed a sidelong glance behind me. The good-looking blonde man was about 50 feet away. My heart began to pound, and I was excited. My latest attachment, Bob, was just too dull. He loved me and wanted to marry me, but I needed more excitement than he could generate. The man behind me was exciting. I sensed it. The faster I walked, the faster he walked. When I slowed, he slowed. Finally, I stopped and he came up to me, smiling that full, handsome smile. I just wanted to thank you for saving our skins tonight. We shouldn't have been making so much noise. We could have gotten busted over nothing. That was nothing, I said. Max was just jumpy. Well, thanks for helping us. And thanks for the pie, too. We stood on the sidewalk looking at each other. Can I walk you home? He asked, finally. Sure, if you want to, I said, as nonchalantly as I could. We reached my flea bag of a hotel, and before I was even aware of it, I had asked if he wanted to come up. Sure, he said, if you would like to talk a while. Talk? I thought. But that's what we did. I was astounded. That mysterious young man, he told me his name was Al, merely sat and talked to me about everything under the stars until the sky began to lighten. He made no passes at me. We didn't even kiss. He was just too occupied with his dreams of getting together enough money to go to Oregon, buy a place, and settle down. It was fascinating, but I wasn't sure I believed it all. He was too much of a man to be vanishing off into the woods somewhere. When the sun finally appeared over the building tops, he asked me if I wanted to go for a motorcycle ride with him through the San Francisco hills in the early morning. Why not? I'm not sleepy. I changed clothes and away we went. At his place, I was surprised to find 6 men living together in one large room. They seemed rough, but they were certainly polite enough to me, and they seemed to hold Al in especially high regard. They made me uneasy, but that all vanished as we roared off on his bike. It was near noon when he stopped. Al turned to me abruptly and said point blank, "I'm going up to Oregon to take care of some things that have to be done, and I'd like for you to come along with me. I want you as a part of my life. And when things get straightened out and we can settle down, I'd like you to be my wife." I immediately knew I would go with him. "If you're sure you want me along, then I believe I'd like to go." "That's good," he said. "Cliff, he's one of the guys back at the house. He'll be going with us." My face showed disappointment. "But you won't mind him," Al pressed on quickly. "He'll just be with us for a while. You and I will be together." I had faith in Al. I knew he could take care of me. He was big, beautiful, and mysterious. I was in love with him and with the mystery of him. Even if he wasn't precise about what was ahead, I still trusted him. "Okay," I said, "if that's what you want." The brand new Buick Riviera was smooth and quietly powerful. All my belongings were packed neatly in the trunk, and my job, my hotel, my dear, dull boyfriend Bob were all far behind. Stockton, California was not far ahead. Clifton was a surly, unlikable fellow. He and Al talked softly and sporadically as I slouched between them, sometimes dozing, sometimes staring into the star-filled night. The radio played good music. The Beatles were sweeping the country. It soon became clear to me that the motives for their trip north were not especially honorable. They apparently had robbery in mind. Both were ex-convicts. My big, handsome, mysterious Al had spent a lot of time in prison, it seemed, and was then on the run from his parole agent. Clifton declined to tell me what he had been in prison for, but the look on his face frightened me, even without words. He, too, was on the run, and the rented car was, by then, a stolen car. I was glad to feel Al close beside me. I leaned into his warmth. "I'm involved with criminals." The thought finally penetrated my consciousness. The kid from the green country is running with 2 cons. I didn't know if I should laugh or cry. An inward chuckle finally prevailed. Just like the movies. It sure beats rotting away in that hotel. And my old man can't bug me anymore. I began to piece together the immediate plans. Way back behind my suitcases was a high-powered rifle. It would serve to get more guns, which would open the way for a big heist. Then, Al said over and over, we'll have enough money to get married, buy a home in Oregon, and go straight. My faith in him was so great, I believed him. In 3 or 4 days, we abandoned the Buick, guessing that an alarm for it was out by then. Using money stolen late at night from a gas station, we acquired what seemed to be the perfect car for us, a well-worn, nondescript Rambler sedan, just right for young people doing some camping in the beautiful Oregon countryside. Equipment was easy to steal from the local stores, and we had everything we needed for camping in the woods near a river. Our chosen site was actually property owned by relatives of Clifton. My main concern was their reaction to the noise of our target practicing with the rifle and the 2 handguns acquired by Al and Cliff. They were turning me into a sharpshooter. One late afternoon, we prepared to go to town for supplies, but the Rambler's battery was dead. "What do we do now?" asked Cliff. "Let's go up to your cousin's and see if he'll drive us into town to get a new one," replied Al calmly. "It's worth a try," said Cliff. "But don't be surprised if he says no. I'm not his favorite cousin, you know." Cliff smiled. Evilly, I thought. We were camped more than half a mile from the cousin's mobile home. As we approached it, we saw 2 highway patrol cars in the driveway. "Hold it," Al said quickly. The next thing I knew, I was rolling side over side with another body down a scratchy, rocky ravine. The other body was Cliff's. He had his right hand clamped tightly over my mouth. His hands and wrists were scraped and scratched by the small, wiry bushes. They stung, and I sat upright, brushing the dirt away from them. "Be quiet." It was Cliff. Al was nowhere in sight. Before I could ask, Cliff said, "Al's gone around back to see what's going on." Just like the movies, I thought. But I didn't smile inside. I was scared and confused. Cliff had a revolver in his hand, and the sight of it brought back his words in the car one night. "When you see cops, shoot first. Don't play around." Lying at the bottom of the ravine, he whispered to me, "I told you you were in this with us, but I don't think you believed me. Maybe you should have split when you had the chance. It's too late now. You're part of the stolen car, and now you're running with us." His smile was almost a sneer. I still didn't like him, and my fear was deepening. In a few minutes, we heard Al's bird call whistle, and he slid quietly down the ravine to my side. The fear eased. "We've got to go," he said in a whisper. "They're after us." For a day and a half, we walked north, staying several feet off the road and running for the woods when we heard anything approaching. Our progress was slow during the daytime, and we sat out a lot of the day hours. The first night, a strong wind and rainstorm drenched us, but we kept moving in the dark. I was ready to give up. "You guys better go on without me," I said desperately. "I'm holding you up. You're just gonna get busted. I can go up to a farmhouse and give them a sob story. They'll take me in." Al shook his head. "Absolutely not," he said. "We're not leaving you behind. You and I are together." And Cliff wasn't about to go without Al. He, too, saw him as a protector. "I'll tell you what, though," Al said. "We're not getting anywhere with all this running and hiding. We haven't seen a cop car in hours. So let's stop hitting the dirt every time we hear something coming." Cliff wasn't happy with that proposal. "They'll bag us for sure." "Maybe not." Al was aggressively positive. "We'll get out of here faster. They've probably given up on this road anyhow." That seemed to settle it. Cliff was obviously against it. But I wanted only to be close to Al. 10 or 15 minutes passed. Then we heard a car coming. Cliff and I looked at Al. He kept walking. It was a highway patrol van. The next thing I knew, I was lying face down on the concrete highway with a booted foot pressed into the small of my back. A shotgun was aimed at my head. "Don't make one false move or you're dead," said a voice above me. We were searched head to foot, then handcuffed behind our backs. With my head resting on the pavement, I looked solemnly at Al. I could feel a tear coming across my nose. One of the two patrolmen spoke enthusiastically to the other. "It's a good thing we got that alert down the road there. We might never have spotted them." Just 3 miles up the road, they had received a radio description of 2 men and a woman, armed and dangerous, wanted on suspicion of robbery and parole violation. Al managed to smile at me. "We almost made it, kiddo." 3 months later, 3 months among hardened prisoners in Rock Butte County Jail, I arrived back in San Jose, free on a suspended sentence and 2 years probation. My father and Aunt Joy met me. I was stone cold inside. I could not smile, even as I embraced each of them. This was not my family, although I agreed to stay with my aunt. The warmth had long ago dissipated. Life was somewhere else. And then there was Al. His parting words echoed in my head. "Don't get lost, Sue." I would probably never see him again. The one I had chosen as my refuge was locked securely in prison.